Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. I'm just going to start by saying if the conversation in the green room is anything to go by, this should be quite the cracker. Here we go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. We're almost to the end of the week. Big game this weekend. A great result last night. I'd like to welcome back the man who pulled Wimbledon out of the bag, the balls for the Arsenal. Well done, Super Kev and Campbell. Back tonight. Smashed it last night. Well done, Kev.
Hey, thank you, Soph. I'm looking forward to this one. I really am looking forward to this, especially this one with that man down there.
Let's welcome our guest for tonight, Kev. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to make this happen for a while. His internet is finally where it should be. We put some money in the meter for him. Super Kenny Ken on the show tonight. Welcome to the squad. Oh!
Thank you very much for having me. It's very nice that you finally recognise that, you know, that there is life over the Islington side of Straggling Road. So I just thought that the reason why I wasn't invited in this show is because, you know, we're both from Finsbury Park. But I thought because you're from the posher part, you know, N4 going towards N8, you know, St Peter's and Chain, Crouch End, and I'm on the other poor side, you know, N7,
Crouch End,
you know, Crouch Hill, you know, Holy Park Estate. I thought that, you know, there's something in the water. Maybe us people from the Islington side put our hands in, you know, in the soup without using a knife or fork. I think, hang on here. I know I've been banned from a lot of podcasts because of my views, but I didn't think my fellow Finsbury Park sister,
never banned.
Me.
No, never banned.
Never be banned on here, Kenny. Never.
We got South London's finest in the house. So if we've got South London's finest, North London is always welcome.
You're in. You've got complimentary seats, mate.
Definitely, but you know what's happening, right? Is that Kevin had he could have, gone and watched Millwall, but he had to get like the Victoria line, last stop on the Greek Victoria line, and get down to Finsbury Park and go and watch some proper football, and that's why he's one of us now.
Hey,
obviously,
listen, I've done my stint at Millwall, Crystal Palace, Charlton. I've done enough of that watching that.
I know.
Before we carry on, hold on a sec. Before we carry on, we're remiss. Last night, Kev, because you weren't here, guess what I forgot to do at the beginning of the show? Salute the squaddies, right?
You didn't.
I did. So, Kenny, we got to salute the squaddies. Yeah, welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everyone.
Addies, thank you so much. Listen, let's get stuck right into it, because here's the great thing, and I'll let everyone know what happened. So we're in the green room, we're having a chat, and literally it felt like the show already kicked off, okay? And Kenny was telling Super Kevin Campbell over here that he has been making points about some of the stuff Kev's been saying because he wanted to bring it up and talk about it. And of course, we have some points. At the end of the show, I'm going to have a quick fire round for Super Kev and Kenny as well.
So I've only got an hour because I'm on.
I know. You got to go on. Yeah, let's get to it.
So many people in demand, aren't they?
Exactly. But let's get going, because you know what? Me and Kenny going to need some time. So
okay, you're going to need. This is going to be. I feel this is part one of a part two, maybe three type of show this season. Yeah. So Kenny, listen. Let's just start off with a quick positive from last night. 6-0. Everyone was ready. Everyone who wasn't an Arsenal person was sharpening their knives, their darts, to throw at us. And in the end, we got the result that we should. We should be thrashing West Brom, on a Wednesday night in the League Cup. A positive going into the game against City. Not saying we're going to beat City, but nonetheless, Kenny, a very positive result for the club.
I think it's a very positive one. But at the end of the day, that game was for the fans. All the 3,000 who travelled. They deserved that. They needed that kind of encouragement, because they've suffered. All of us have suffered, but the fans who travelled to Brentford and the fans who went to the game against Chelsea have suffered. Both performances were humiliating, catastrophic, and like an illumination of the incompetence of the current coach and his unsuitability for the position which is Arsenal Football Club. And I think that the theme on all the shows from now on is put all your opinions to one side and put all your, wanting to say the wrong thing. And just remember one thing, all of your shows wouldn't be here without Arsenal Football Club. So the club is the star, and the standards which the fans have to set have to be the highest. It can't be any lower. For too long at this football club, we have had standards that are below requirements. Now look what happened to Liverpool. We saw the decline of that great football club, and we saw our own eyes. And I'm not going to rest until the decline is abated and we never ever get to those levels. And that's why I'll always be shouting from the rooftops, because I support the third biggest club in the country. The only clubs that are superior to Arsenal are Liverpool and Man United in terms of trophies and pedigree and size. And as far as I'm concerned, Arsenal should be challenged for the title every year, winning it as much as you can. And the top four is a silver medal. So this season, we are aiming for the top four. And that is why, under no circumstances, I'm putting this season into jeopardy like we did last season. I'm not having it. There's going to be no excuses whatsoever. But let's save it for the show.
Okay, let's get into this, because you brought up a point when we were talking just before the show about comments that players make and how that could be positive or negative for the club. And you wanted to address something with Kev. So I'm going to let you ask him that question, because I did on Monday. For the first time, Wrighty came out and he was very scathing of Arteta's tactics, in that particular match. And then Adams and Keown came out the same. We got Lee Dixon here, who's on US television, Kenny, and he and Graham Lasso were also both scathing of the fact that he didn't make adjustments. So I wanted to just pass it on to you so you could ask Kevin that question about the ex-players, because I thought that was really interesting.
Well, the thing with the ex-players as well is that a lot of the ex-players have a lot of loyalty towards the football club in terms of that they're their former employees, but they don't see the club as us fans do. For instance, in order to exemplify their loyalty, they'll talk about, the marble halls, wearing the shirts. You know how George Graham used to say, if you're getting paid like executives, you've got to act like executives, the Arsenal way. Like when you go there, you feel it and you smell the history. Not one of you guys ever talk about the standards, higher standards and winning. I never hear that from you, Kevin. And I certainly didn't hear it from Martin Keown on Talk Sport when a fan was genuinely concerned about the state of the team, the fact that we are behind our rivals, second year running. Not once did Martin Keown. All Martin Keown was talking about was about, there's a certain way we have to behave in Arsenal. I'm sorry, that goes without saying. How about talking about winning? How about demanding the highest standards that this football club deserves? Because at the end of the day, I was brought up to believe that Arsenal Football Club, because of its size and because of its history, should be competing with the best. And I'm not seeing that, because I've seen the decline with Liverpool, and that was one of the worst things ever. And we're repeating the same thing we did with Liverpool. Also, 1971, when we won the double, we spent 18 years celebrating that. And it took for George Graham to re-rake him as Stephen Dyer, and we're doing the same thing in 2004. All I hear from ex-players is, we can't really compete with Leicester City. We can't compete with Man United, Chelsea, everything, because they're light years away. Arteta needs time. Well, I'm sorry. He's been here 20 months, and he has not designed a clear style of play. Secondly, in terms of playing to the player's strengths, he cannot sell his vision without the currency of good results. That's what George Graham did in '86. And you were there, Kevin. In 1986, George Graham was a Millwall manager. Millwall, second-tier English football. And he had players like Noel Quinn up front. He had Viv Anderson at right back. He had Kenny Sampson. He had a bit of experience, but he relied on the kids. Even Martin Hayes, he tried to sell at Huddersfield. He even bought Perry Groves from Colchester as a squad player. But what got George Graham over the line is that he won 20 games. He had won a 20-game unbeaten run. He won the Littlewells Cup, and he used that as a platform to sell his vision process in order to win the league 2 years ago, 2 years later, and in '91. Arsene Wenger's biggest achievement wasn't the double. It was when he first came to the club in 96, 97, where he laid foundations in terms of Patrick Vieira was already cut. He bought Remy Gard. He also had David Platt at the back five. He had Ian Wright, David Seaman, Dennis Bergkamp. They missed the top four by goal difference, 68 points. Man United 75. 3 clubs got 68 points. And we finished third and Newcastle took our place. He laid foundations in order to win the double and those great sides he had up until 2004-5.
Okay, you bring up many great points, right? Because you're bringing up so many, and I want to jump in so I can get Kevin to answer the first part of your question.
It's easy to answer. It is,
okay,
Kenny,
go on,
it's
Kev.
easy to answer. The great thing that you mentioned that you say I don't mention, but if you actually listen to what I say, one of my sayings on here is winning cures all. Winning cures all. The fact of our problem is, Kenny, and this is the standard of Arsenal, is about winning. Our problem is we do not have the tools to win. When you don't have the tools to win, then you have to look at why don't we have the tools to win, for one. What are the traits of the team that you need to win? So that's why I speak about the players crossing that white line having to do the business. I done a Tuesday podcast, the Tuesday-ish Club with David Illia, and anybody who would listen to that would tell you we explained what it took to win, what the mindset was, because you speak about players not being a fan. I was an Arsenal fan before I was a player.
You're an Arsenal fan.
No, I know, but I'm getting back to now. I'm back to being a fan. But I've got the great thing for me is being in the dressing room as well. Now, here's the thing, Kenny. The standards of the club are not set by the fans.
Well, they should 100%. Be set by the fans. We own the club.
But they're not.
We own the club.
No, Kenny. Hold
on. Let him answer.
I listen to you quietly. The standards at the football club, as fans, we know what they are. Of course we do. But the fact of the matter is the standards of the football club is set by the hierarchy at the football club. Because you look at when George Graham was around, David Dean was there. That the standards of the club had to be upped. Because you were there, Kenny, in the 80s when there was 20,000 fans at Highbury. The standards had dropped. But under George Graham, and remember, a lot of fans didn't want George Graham in. But what did he do? He had international players that can build around the youngsters. And he then set a high bar because the club all of a sudden started to get serious. Our problem is, Kenny, we haven't been serious for 17 years. As a football club, that is. We haven't been serious. We haven't been consistently winning for the past 10 years. And as for competition, Kenny, as a football club, we have actually stood still for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And you know what happens in the Premier League? When you stand still, you're there, you're standing still, all of a sudden teams start bypassing you. So Leicester have gone past us. Now West Ham have gone past us. And everybody starts turning around saying, but look at West Ham. That's because we stood still. You can fire away now, Kenny.
What I'm trying to say, right, is picking up your last point, you're saying about us standing still. The last time me and you had a conversation on this kind of platform, obviously it was me, you, Sophie, Robbie Lyle. Oh, God. He was virtually replicating everything you said, and then bang. And I thought, well, hang on here, this is an ambush here. And I wasn't prepared. Well, I'm prepared now for everything you said. The point I'm hanging on to is you're talking about clubs going past us. And I'm saying that the vision comes from a manager and a successful team. And you're talking about a process that Mick Arteta is trying to sell. And I'm going to go hot back onto that process. That process is only going to be viable if it's on solid foundations. Now, Mikel Arteta's process isn't on solid foundations because he hasn't got the right results. We lost 13 games last season, 7 at home. He has contrived in 20 months to fail to play to the player's strengths and fail to set up a clear and identified way of playing. I was watching a programme and I was listening to something, and one pundit in TalkSport actually went to the same school as me, St. Aloysius, but he's a lot older than me. And the first thing he said is that Mikel Arteta worked with Pep, played for Arsene Wenger, and worked for David Moyes. And he said that Arsenal, like David Moyes, David Moyes' Everton. And you know what? I nearly fell off my chair and landed on my back because you know what? It was like being hit in the back of the head with a wet fish, because that's exactly what Mikel Arteta has done to this football club. Because
or more like David Moyes' Man United.
And that's why Moyes got sacked, because what Moyes did at Man United is that he took away their fear factor. He made the players fear the opposition. You don't do that at Man United. Under Mikel Arteta, teams do not fear Arsenal because of his way of playing, which means teams like Wolves, Leicester, Aston Villa can come to the Emirates, regardless. I know you're going to say, well, there's no fans. Well, that's not by the by. They came to our ground and took liberties and beat us comfortably under this guy's management because of the way he's set up.
Yeah, he's broken all of the right records for the wrong reasons. Yes. There is no doubt about that. I mean, when you look at our half-time record under him, it's abysmal. When you look at our home form against anyone, I mean, it's terrible. He's lost more games than Wenger had in 6 years at home. Our home record Emery has regressed under him, and Emery. And Emery and Wenger, our away form under them at the end of their tenures was very poor as well. But the problem is that someone in chat just put up this comment saying as well, Kev, that we whiffed on the opportunities during the end of Wenger's tenure when he had such a stronghold on the club. You know, we could have gone after Pep aggressively. We could have gone after Jurgen Klopp. We could have gone after Antonio Conte. We could have done all these things and we didn't.
Right.
And unfortunately for us, the FA Cups, as beautiful as they were in victory, they also masked all the pain in the Premier League. And I've said this on this show many times, that those victories, then the fans were sold that those teams could go on and compete in the Premier League. And that is just not the case. Now, if you're Chelsea Football Club, Man United, Liverpool even, I would say, even Leicester City, Mikel Arteta would not survive under any top 6 club right now as a manager. Would you both agree with that?
100%. He should have gone last season. And I'm not going to add something. I want him sacked if we get thrashed by Man City, because I'm not going to jeopardise the season any longer. This club should be challenged for the top 4 this season. And if his results carry on, it's going to be too late to give him towards October and November, because guess what? We'll be out of the running, and it would be another season of transition, which is totally and utterly unnecessary.
Here's what
and that's why. And when people say it's only 2 or 3 games, well, this is a continuation of his neglect from last season, and that's why.
What I will say.
I won't have him. I want him gone as soon as possible.
Kenny does make some really valid points. He does, 100%. But here's the thing: what you just said, Sophie. The standard at the football club has not been right for over a decade. Okay? Let's have it right. We have spent money. Anybody who tells you we haven't spent money, we have spent money. But we have frittered the money away. We do not have the quality and type of squad that will enhance a manager. And it happened under Arsene Wenger. And then it went into another capable manager in Emery. But let's talk about just before Emery came. That was a perfect opportunity to go and get a serious manager. The experienced manager everybody wants. We didn't take it. We brought Emery in, who is experienced, and he done okay. And it didn't work out in the end. In fact, it turned toxic in the end under him. Then the hierarchy.
What's the difference now? It's toxic now.
No, hold on, Kenny. So that then is a perfect another opportunity to go and get an experienced manager. The hierarchy did not do that. So they had 2 very valid opportunities in 2 years to do that. They never took it. They brought Arteta in for a reason. And they brought him in for a reason because that dressing room, I believe, Kenny, is toxic because it was the dressing room that got Unai Emery sacked. So,
my question is, Kev, is it becoming more toxic because of some of the things Arteta is doing, perhaps, as opposed to...
Sophie, it's getting toxic because the fan base is frustrated because they don't like where the club are not moving in the direction that they want to fast enough. Of course,
those fans there was nothing toxic about those fans at West Brom last night. They're not the social media keyboard warriors.
But Sophie, like my saying said, winning cures all. When Arsenal are winning, you could have a little gripe here and there, but Arsenal fans are happy when the team are winning. The problem is we do not win consistently enough, and we do not have, for the first 2 games, one, the right personnel. We're not deep enough as a squad. We are now trying to rely on young players to carry this team. And that has never been the way. Never.
Go on, Kenny.
Well, the thing is, you say that, but in 1986, 87, it was our young players who went on a 20-match unbeaten run under George Graham and got us...
Kenny, let me rectify you.
When we won the Europe's Cup.
Kenny, let me rectify you, Kenny.
I know what you're going to say.
No, but Kenny, let me rectify you. You can't say something without proving it. Who was in the team? You had John Lukic, you had Kenny Sanson, you had Viv Anderson, you had David O'Leary, you had Graham Ricks, you had Charlie Nicholas.
Graham was not in that side. Graham Ricks
he was
being edged out by George.
No, but he was in that team. He was.
It was Graham Davis who was playing in that.
Graham Ricks was in the team, Kenny.
If he wasn't,
he was in the
team. In that side.
But he was in the team, Kenny.
Graham Ricks was not a prominent member of that squad.
Time out. Listen, hold on 1 second. Time out. Because can I just jump in and say what the biggest problem is about this particular narrative is we have fallen so far in the league, okay, that we just continually use our rear view mirror because there's no forward thinkingness about the club. It seems everything is reactionary. Some people even thinking that this particular window has been reactionary. We can't attract top players because we don't have European football. This is a big bust. Everyone, all those fans, Kev, who were saying, oh, we'd be great without European football. It'll be good for us to just focus on the league. Are you serious?
So hold on, Sophie. Whoa, Sophie. So hold on a minute. It has to be reactionary because you're behind.
No, I know, but it's like we always use, it's even Arsenal social media. Like there's too much, oh, look at what we did 5 years ago today. Look what happened 5 days ago today.
Sophie,
look at what happened 1 year ago today.
I'll just correct you on one thing.
You can correct me on anything.
About Arsenal social media. That Arsenal social media covers 0.9% of the fan base. The other 99.1% of the fan base wouldn't even know how to spell Twitter. And they certainly think Facebook is probably a mirror. Those guys, those 99.9% go to the games. They wouldn't have a clue about any of the podcasts that I'm watching.
But the younger generation, Kenny, live on social media, and there is a large group of them, and they are the future of the club. And I love using the rear view. I only use the rear view mirror to check my lipstick. And I do enjoy our glory years, right? I enjoy the fact, but I think it's time like that there was a lot more focus on, yes, we can sit, how many times we can sit and enjoy the Invincibles, Anfield 89, all of these great achievements. That is wonderful.
I'm with you. I want to move on for it.
What's the new?
So here's the thing. We all want to move on from that. I mean, nobody on there can't tell me, you, Kenny, you, Sophie, or I don't want a successful Arsenal. The key to it is, how do you get there?
Well, let's
be straight.
The thing is, that's
hold on.
It's a great question.
It's how you get there.
All right.
And how you get there is this, Kenny. You need a team and a squad who can compete.
And a manager.
No, hold on, Kenny.
And we haven't got a results-based manager, Kevin.
You need a team who can compete.
Yes, but does that mean that this manager keeps his job by default? Because
hold on, Kenny.
Does he keep his job by default because we haven't got the team that you think should be competing?
Kenny,
that's the question I'm asking you, Kev.
Yeah, but I'm going to answer it. What I'm saying to you is this. I don't know, and I've said this many times on the Highbury squad. I don't know whether Mikel Arteta will be there in 2 weeks' time. But here's one thing I do know. We do not have the squad to compete at the top of the Premier League right now. We don't. And anybody who says we do, you tell me.
Yeah,
we
Kev,
don't.
I'm talking about the lowest of the low for this football club, which is the silver medal, because I'm a winner. I only do gold, which is the top four. And I believe that if we made Highbury a fortress, the Emirates a fortress, and we played to the player strengths that we have on disposal. Let's remember, Mick Arteta's got a front three worth £180 million plus, and that doesn't include Saka or Odegaard, which he bought. Which means if you've got players of that value, and you've got players who basically their strengths is their offensive way of playing, then what you do is you get them playing to their strengths. Because I'm all for any process. I'm all for a style being evolved in like a season or two. But the main objective of Mikel Arteta's job is to win football matches. Mikel Arteta is not the head coach. He is the team manager. So when you talk about how the squad's being assembled and how Edu's being blamed, Mikel Arteta is also part of that transfer committee, alongside Edu and Vinay. Sorry, Vinay, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sure Sophie will correct me.
Vinay,
he has a huge input on who we sell and who we buy, which means he takes collective responsibility for that. But ultimately, Mikel Arteta is not a coach anymore. He is a results-based manager. And if I was Mikel Arteta, I want to stay at his job, I will start playing to the strengths of the players that we have to disposal. And I wouldn't give an interview like he did after Chelsea said we have 9 players out, because his job is to enhance the confidence of his players. I don't think it's a good look when you're saying we've got 9 players out. It hurts youngsters.
Kenny,
that's out of order.
Let him respond.
Kenny. Yeah, to say we're missing 9 players, you wouldn't say that, but it's the truth.
We shouldn't be saying that. We shouldn't be saying that.
But that's your opinion.
He's got players who he's got to motivate.
Hold on, Kenny. Hold on 1 second. Because I agree with that.
Motivating players and playing against better players is different.
But it's the idea of the manager making excuses, Kev.
Sophie,
that's the point.
How is it an excuse? It's just fact.
But he's saying
Sophie, the fact of the matter is this. Arsenal playing Chelsea with so many players out was always going to be a tall order. Whether you want them to compete, whether you want the manager to do this, whether you want the manager to... It always was going to be a tall order.
It's a tall order for every club and every team in this time.
Right. So the fact of the matter is, we are playing snookered, whether we like it or not.
Spurs do that when they play Man City. Spurs play the champions a week before. Did they come with this?
Kenny, we're not talking about them. Let's talk about Arsenal.
Okay, let's regroup. Okay, let's regroup here, because here's the scoop, right? When you are under the cosh and you're embattered as a leader, okay, and I don't want to bring politics into this right now, but to give you the best example I can based on what's happening in the world today, Joe Biden is making excuses for a very bad decision, right? You can't, as a leader, if I'm missing my team and I'm doing a presentation and we're pitching to Disney or Fox or whoever, I've got to deal with it and still give the best presentation I possibly can to the people in front of me. And I think the argument for Arteta in the league in particular, Kev, is that we are not seeing a competitive Arsenal. Brentford was humiliating. We saw a little bit better in our second game, just a slight, but we were playing the champions of Europe. I get it. It was an uphill task. We tried. But his own tactics absolutely destroyed his own players on one particular side of the pitch. And the argument that Keown and Adams and Wrighty and all those guys were making was he didn't make adjustments after even 15, 20 or 30 minutes when the player was getting ripped to shreds like an old school, shredder in the office. He didn't do anything about it. He just made substitutions in the second half. I think that's where the rubber meets the road for a lot of fans with Arteta is what are you doing? And this is where the inexperience comes in terms of making in-game adjustments. And that's the toughest pill to swallow, Kev, in the league.
Sophie, let me just tell you this. It doesn't matter the tactic. The opposition, if they're better than you, are going to open you up at some stage. It's how the players adjust on the football pitch. I can't believe.
But he didn't put them in a position to adjust. That's the problem.
Sophie, Sophie, did you just hear what I said?
He could have gone to a back three. Why didn't he just do that? Simple. One move.
Sophie,
boom, done.
Sophie, so do you honestly think if we'd have played 3-4-3, that we would have won the game?
I think we would have had a better chance of being a little bit more, because there would have been more protection, perhaps. There would have been more. Well, I'm answering your question. You're saying
no. I'm saying how would there have been more?
Because we've played better against
at the back as opposed to
because we've seen the best of us with him playing that type of formation. That's the point.
And when was that?
If you look at our FA Cup run, if you look at Project Restart, if you look at
when we don't look at the past. Look at now, Sophie. We're talking about now. The personnel at
when
the
it comes
back,
to talking about memories in the past, but in terms of like how you look at a team, how they line up, Kev, and what we've done best with that formation and not. When you don't have the players to play like Man City, you have to be able to see that as a manager. I'm not screaming
Sophie,
like get rid of him now and all this stuff.
Sophie, this is a healthy debate about one, the manager making adjustments, as you said. 2, the team not getting the right results. And 3, us getting exposed by the champions of Europe. It is going to happen. The key
we got exposed by Brentford.
No, we're talking about Chelsea. We know what happened at Brentford.
But we also got exposed and ripped to pieces by Brentford.
I just said that. But I'm saying we're speaking about Chelsea. You said on our left-hand side, we were getting ripped up down there. We weren't getting ripped up down there second half. So here's the...
Can I just...
hold on. Let me just finish this point.
All right, let me finish this point.
Let him finish. Let him finish and then I'll bring you in.
I've already said to you, if we're going to get exposed down one side with 4 at the back, what do you reckon is going to happen with 3 at the back?
All right, okay.
Do you reckon there's going to be? They're not going to go down there in droves.
Go on, Kev. Go on, Kenny. Jump in.
All right, let's talk about the whole situation. First and foremost, you had a manager who micromanages his team to the extent that he was giving instructions, because the coach on the other side, Tuchel, also micromanages his players as well. Arteta could have reacted to that because the danger signs occurred before Chelsea got both their goals. There was still space down the left-hand side, because what was happening is Kieran Tierney committed tactical suicide and Saka aided and abetted him in committing tactical suicide. Because what happens is 2 things happens. If you're going to be a free, then Saka has to stop the runs of Reece James. Now, if the players can't take that information, the manager is there for that. He should be the one shouting and getting a message across to say there's too much bloody space with Reece James. How can Mount get the ball, look up and pass the ball, no full well that Reece James was there? It was happening repetitively before they got their goal. So Kieran Tierney panicked because what was happening is because Mari made an individual error. You should never, ever, 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 ever allow a player like Lukaku to get tight on Lukaku. You give him a yard, and then when you give him a yard, then you react. Because when you give him that yard, it allows your player to get in position. If you go tight on him, which Mari does, what he does is that Murray gets taken out of the game, and that leaves a space. And that's why Tierney was tucking in. Now, that is something that Arteta should have been working on the training ground, because everyone talks a bit about a talent coach. It's not rocket science. The left back tucks in, the left winger becomes that left back. It's simple science. And I have to call Arteta out, because everyone was talking about Arteta being this coach where we were so superbly organised that after Christmas we were third in, some imaginary fictitious table.
Yeah, the second half season table.
Yeah, which means we've gone backwards. Now, if it doesn't go right in the field, it is down to him. And the reason why I'm saying it's down to him, because he micromanages the team. It was happening because of that before the goals.
Okay. Ken, hold on a minute. Ken, can I just say, I'm not saying the buck doesn't stop with the manager. I've always said that. And like I said, if the manager's there in 2 weeks or not, I don't know. But here's one thing I will say. And this is one thing I know as a fact. When you are on a football pitch and you've got a problem, you have to address it on the pitch. I don't know how Mikel Arteta could fix every problem. It's impossible to do that.
Tuchel did.
No, he didn't. He's got world-class players, Kenny. Kenny, we're talking about Kieran Tierney, and we're talking about their right-hand side.
He could have got a message over to them. He was on the.
Hold on.
He could have got a message over.
Kenny, hold on.
He wasn't sitting down in his seat. He was micromanaging. I wasn't a game. I saw it in my own eyes.
Let Kev finish his point, and then I'm going to jump in and move the conversation along.
My point is this, Kenny. My point is this. If I've played wide, and I've had fullbacks. I've had Nigel Winterburn there. I've had Lee Dixon there. If we are getting exposed down one side, the fullback would say, Cams, go and sit on him for 5 minutes to quell the problem. So they have to then readjust. That never happened. That is my point. If the players do not see what the problems are themselves, Kieran Tierney should be experienced enough to say to Bukayo Saka, come and sit in for 5 minutes. That has nothing to do with the manager. That is Kieran Tierney's left back. He can see it all happening. He should be able to adjust.
Okay.
Problem is,
Kev,
we are not good at adjusting.
When most managers, like Pep will adjust in game, Klopp will adjust in game. I mean, a lot of managers adjust in game.
Yeah, but
you mentioned Tuchel. So. You know what I'm tired of hearing from this thing? Mourinho has inherited a supposedly Tottenham team that was ready to win the league, and they tanked. Okay, you've got managers that inherit teams with. Look, Pochettino couldn't even win the league with Neymar and Mbappe last season in Ligue 1, right? Tuchel, I'm sick of this whole narrative of, these got world-class players. He came into an absolute mess as well. When you think about what he did to transform that team, he's still got to get players on side. He still has to have them believe in his philosophy, his system, the way he wants to play. He had ostracized players like Jorginho, like Alonso, who weren't even getting a sniff, and now they're back in the team, and they were a huge help in going on and winning a European double. So this notion that he just came in and waved the magic wand because he had Pulisic. Timo Werner couldn't even score goals, never scored goals. Somehow they still found a way to win.
Who said he waved the magic wand? But you know what? It half help when you've got quality players.
Of course it does, but it shows you, even with some quality, a good manager who comes in and has more experience and understands what to do, when to do, how to do it.
Sophie.
We have Aubameyang, Lacazette. All right, give me a minute because I want to move this on, okay? And also, Kev, it's time for you to brock some next because we got 650 people in live chat and you know what to tell them.
Hey, listen, people, 650, we won at least 325 likes. You got myself, Sophie, and you got Super Kenny Ken on, who you wanted to come on. So come on, hit that like button.
If you hate Tottenham, hit the like button. That is the only rule of the house, Kenny, if you didn't know that. That's the only criteria. We'll always hate Tottenham.
If you're from Finsbury Park, right, hit that like button. I know there's a lot of people from Andover Estate, 6 Acres, Hayden Court. Come on, you guys. Andover Estate. People went to Monson, Christ the King, St Peter's the Chain, Grafton, Duncan, Paul's Park. Come on, I know you're watching.
I think we've covered the whole of London there. So look, here's the scoop. We go into Manchester City. We've got another 20 minutes here on the show. We've got Super Kev, we've got Kenny Ken, and let me tell you something right now. There's going to be a part 2 to this show because we haven't even scratched the surface. There has to be. And I love it. It's all in the spirit of loving the Arsenal Football Club. At the end of the day, as Kenny says, whenever there's game day, he tweets this, and you can never, ever take that away from him. It's always about the badge. No matter who is playing, it is always about the Arsenal. So,
club is the star, 100%.
With that said, the club, absolutely. So we face Man City, all right, because I feel like this conversation might take the rest of the time that we have. We face Man City. We've come off a very positive win, but we all know beating West Brom in the League Cup, that doesn't show who the Arsenal Football Club are going to be in the Premier League. But what it does is it gives us a bit of confidence going in, Kenny. So as we face City, what are your expectations for Sunday? And instead of looking at what he's not doing, what can he do to help us at least be competitive in this game?
Well, that's a good thing because at the end of the day, we are going to have to accept that we are going to be pressed aggressively, and there are going to be times when City are going to try and overlap us, especially down our right hand side. Especially now they've got players like Grealish. I think Stern will be playing that game, and also you're on the other side you've got Mahrez as well. And just remember, De Bruyne won't be playing. Foden's still done his foot, and I think Bernardo Silva's not particularly happy that he's not getting the first choice. So they've got a wealth of experience and they are going to be on the ball. How Arsenal win it is on the counter-attack. But you're only going to be effective on the counter-attack is if you get bodies forward and you have quality in terms of the pass and the ball is moved quickly. So what Arsenal have to do is that they have to have a situation where Aubameyang's on the left, either Pepe or Saka or on the right-hand side. And it depends. If there's a situation where he feels that Pepe is going to move the ball quicker than Lacazette, rather than Lacazette holding the ball up, then he has to play with that. But he has to attack in purpose. There's no good being half-hearted in attack. We got nothing to lose now. We have to be competitive there. But the only way you're going to be competitive is if we're effectively off that break, and which means quick passing and getting runners in. Leeds did it to Man City because you look at the teams that beat Man City last season. What did they do? What they did is that they accepted that they were getting a bit of pressure across the field. But what they did is when the opportunities arose, and it does arise because Man City are going to not always win that second ball. They're always going to leave gaps because they're always bombing forward. Brazil style. Cafu and Roberto Carlos. So there's going to be space down the wings. So what Arsenal need to do is always going to be down those sides, which means you're going to need strong runners there. Leicester did it last season, murdered them. Liverpool should have battered them. And Man United played that same way. And Leeds, good old Leeds, 10 men did that. And that's the only way you're going to be able to beat this Man City side on a counter-attack is runners. That's how Spurs always beat them. And I think that's where Arsenal got to play. Mick Arteta needs to forget about David Moyes and looking good and getting a point. He needs a win big time. Because I'll tell you one thing, the point is no good. We're still going to be in that precarious position after 3 games. And it's still going to be a situation where we're going to be further away from where we should be, being the top 4. Because I know people say, I'm being unrealistic. Well, I say, why not? I bet you any money, if we went down Spurs, they're all talking about the top 4. Look how they played Man City. Did they do what we did against Chelsea and said, we don't fancy it? Let's remember one thing. Chelsea are not the league champions. Man City are. So all this stuff about them being European champions, fine. But over 38 games, they were not the best team in the country. And we afforded them too much respect. Let's do what Tottenham did at Man City and expected to win. Now, my mindset is you need to play your rivals. If you call yourself a big club, then you should be going to the Etihad.
Well, we set up fearlessly, right? We play fearless football. Kev, is this going to be the first time you and Kenny agree on tonight's show in terms of his approach of how to beat City, or at least be competitive against them, or get a point?
I think I could add to it. The key to any team that beats Man City is to defend properly. You have to defend properly. If you defend properly, you have a chance. And then when you do turn that ball over, you do have to play quick, but you got to play quick forward with quality. This sideways football will not work.
It's 100%.
Because you have to hit the gaps. And once you hit the gaps, you have to have runners going through the gaps, and that gets you up the pitch. And that's what you have to do. My issue is, can we defend properly? If we could defend properly, great that all the forwards scored and everything last night, so it gives them a bit of confidence.
Why can't we play Maitland-Niles for this game? Why can't he play? Because he's got the energy. He's got the energy in order to...
Kenny, I don't know. I don't know
energy.
what the team's going to be.
Would you play Maitland-Niles, though? Would you play for this game?
Kenny, listen. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be fit, Kenny. I don't know what's happening. So if it was me, if I had a choice, I wouldn't play Maitland-Niles. But that's my choice.
But what about energy? If you want energy, because at the end of the day, energy, obviously you want organisation, but you're still going to need energy, especially when Man City, especially down those sides, where they try to do it in the overlap.
Can I ask you both this? Can I ask you both this? Can I ask you both this question? If Maitland-Niles plays on that side, Chambers could play as the 3 because Pablo Mari cannot play. I would rather, and you know how I feel about Chambers, Kev, you know, Pablo Mari in this game, if people think that he was bullied by Lukaku, of course, but in this game, he'll be bullied by pace, not power, right? There's a difference. So that to me is the biggest worry going into this. When you're talking about defending, Super Kev, how do we combat not having those same issues at the back then if Pablo Mari does get the start against City this weekend?
They don't have Lukaku.
Yeah, but they have speed, don't they?
But it's different. When you have somebody who's physical, has the physical presence and the power, like Lukaku, that causes major problems in your back four. Pablo Mari's played against Manchester City before. He knows what to expect. That I understand that. Our issue is when we come up against a big physical striker, we do not fancy it. We don't.
Well, Mari doesn't fancy playing against anyone who's fast either, so that's a bit of an issue. I'll get your quick predictions at the very end of the show, but we do have another 10 minutes left here, and I wanted to ask you this question because it's become a big debate today, and a lot of people in chat. Thanks to all 700 of you right now listening live. Please hit that.
Likes. Come on, Kenny Ken's on.
700 likes. I'm here. 700
Come on, you know what I mean, Ken?
Darren Road, Murray Road.
The London Massive is here.
The Moray, come on. I know you guys watch this show. You told me you watch me. Come on. I'm doing this on behalf of Andover Estate in Finsbury Park. Come on. One of your own's on. Come on. And you've got Sophie. She's from Finsbury Park as well. Come on. Finsbury Park Massive.
All right, so here we go. I wanted to ask you guys this because there's the whole story swirling, and I'm going to ask it even though we don't know if it's true or not, but the Qatari prince, some type of royalty, interested in buying and saving the Arsenal. There are a lot of fans who have moral dilemmas, and then sometimes with this stuff, I'm like, well, if you have moral dilemmas, then maybe you should look at who makes your shoes, who makes your jacket, where you buy your groceries, all that type of stuff. I'll start with you, Kev, and you can throw it to Kenny.
What phone you have?
The phone. Yeah, everything. The phone.
Sophie,
Kev, what do you think about this?
Sophie, I love it. I absolutely love it, and I hope it's real, obviously. And everything we want, we may not like that it's not done in a certain way, but you know the truth? We want to win. And I want Arsenal to
thank you, Kev. I've been trying to get you to think like that for years. I've known you for... I first met you about 12 years ago in Manchester, and I've been trying... Since then, I've been trying to get you to have that mindset.
Kenny, just listen. Kenny, just listen. I said it at the start of the show, and I'm going to say it again, just for you. Winning cures all.
Wrong.
If Arsenal ain't winning,
it's the alpha and the omega.
No, but winning kills all. That's it. So it's the same.
Out of the question.
So it's the same.
Winning is beautiful. That's what you
Kenny,
say.
it's the same, Kenny.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It is the same. Winning
it's
cures
not.
everything, Kenny.
No,
winning cures everything.
Winning is important.
No, winning cures everything. So
winning's
do you
the
know
be
what?
all and end all everything.
Exactly, because when we won our 4 FA Cups, it cured the pain. When we
we did do well in the league, though. I want to win the boat race.
Right, 100%, and
so
we all do.
Go
on, Kev.
If we want to do that, this football club needs someone at the top who we had Usmanov at the time who wanted to put money in. They wouldn't let him in. Kenny's bumped out.
I think we just knocked Kenny out.
Brock him up. No, get Kenny back because I wanted him to hear this. But you know what, Sophie? For me, getting that money allows you to bankroll the quality in the squad. This is the key. All of those top players that everybody wants, that's how we get them. Money, it's a money game now.
Yes.
You know what's it is a money game now, and unfortunately that's the reality of the world, no matter what industry you are in. Money talks, bullshit walks, instant gratification is alive and well. People want everything now. Go on, Kenny.
I've got something else to add, and it's much more important than that. You've got to look at the situation, right? And how Chelsea and Man City set up these institutions that are now leading the way in the Premiership. I don't want an owner to come here and give me a bit of that. I'm from Finsbury Park. I've heard people doing a bit of that. What I want them to do is, in order for us to be a force again, I want us to be strong off the field as well as on the field. So, for instance, I want the best academy in the country. I want someone like Marina Granovskaya behind the scenes. I want a Peter Kenyon. Mm-hmm. That's who I deal with, and I want a director of football. Because if you're strong off the field, then you're going to be strong on it. Chelsea's best ever signing was Peter Kenyon in 2003 for Man United. That is where they were able to take the contacts he had. Ian Robin was meant to go to Man United. Peter Kenyon took Ian Robin to Chelsea. And after that, you look at Chelsea's academy, they've got the best boys in London. You look at their transfer negotiations. Cobham was based in London Colney. So what Chelsea did, they looked at who was the best at the time. So they looked at Arsenal, the prototype of the player we had. So they bought big lads. The training ground. You remember, I played at Hayes and Arlington. It's an absolute dump. You're lucky you've got the showers weren't exactly like the showers about one line, and it was bloody hot.
Working, yep,
bloody hot, and it was a lot like working. So that's what you need. I want my owner to have that emphasis where we're going to be strong off the field. And then we can attract the right managers because they're going to look at the facilities and look at the people they've got to work with. And then we can get these big players. You can't have one without the other.
This is a good point, Kev.
But Kenny, hold on.
I want you to jump in.
No, Sophie, I just want to flip something. The strength off the pitch is right, Kenny, but it's the gratification on the pitch that attracts the young players.
But you can't have one without the other. You've got to have.
You can. You can.
Chelsea don't have that, and Man City don't have that. You have to be strong in both areas. Because what happens is that
when Chelsea started winning,
are stronger.
Let him respond.
When Chelsea started winning, where does all the young players in London want to go? They want to go to the winners. That's why you need the first team strong and winning. We saw that at Arsenal. Whenever Arsenal were winning, all the best kids wants to come to Arsenal.
But the academy has to be right as well, Kev.
No, of course it does, but they want to come. So you need that winning culture in the first team, and then everything goes from there.
Also, I heard a lot of fans, including our good friend of the show, Dan Potsy, talking about how run down the outside of the Emirates looked over the weekend. And even the seats, like coming back. And is that real quick in a nutshell, Kenny, in 30 seconds?
I could vouch for that. That's exactly how I felt. Everything looked run down. But then again, I don't think under, in our wildest dreams, we expected to have full crowds at football, even after Euro 2020. It was a case where we didn't know where we were going to be allowed away fans, and also we didn't know where we were going to be having full confidence. Another thing as well, we failed a lot of staff, the non-playing staff, it's dwindled because they haven't had the match day. So I think that those are the kind of circumstances why the ground looked like it needed bit of TLC.
It needed a bit of TLC, yeah.
Yeah. It's a real shame. Okay, last one. I was going to do a real quick fire. We'll take. Let's see, Kev. You've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, I've got a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Okay, this is a quick fire round for you both. Okay, and it's literally just answer, move on. 2-second responses. Okay. If you could only keep one out of Arteta and Adu, who stays? Who goes? Kev.
Arteta.
Kenny.
Edu stays, Arteta out.
Okay. Would you bring Jack Wilshere back to the Arsenal in any capacity as a mentor? Kev.
As a mentor?
Yes, to the young players.
No, because I think he's young enough to still play. Okay,
Kenny?
No, he needs to. I want a new direction, and I want new ideas. Because I think he represents what hasn't been working for the last 10 years. So I'm sorry.
Remember, quick fire round. Would you rather Kroenke or Qatar?
Qatar.
Oba scores more than 20 goals this season, yes or no?
Yes.
No.
Would you rather see Kolasinac in the team this weekend against City or Mari?
Mari. Jesus.
Mari.
That's a bad question.
Hey.
Would you like to see Arteta hire new assistants? Yes or no?
I just want him gone.
No.
I want him out.
Would you rather qualify for Europe, the Europa League, or win a domestic cup? Kev.
FA Cup, please. I'd love that.
Kenny.
I love trophies. I love winning. It's beautiful. Trophy.
Stop the protests or keep them going? Kenny?
Stop the process or protest? What do you say?
Protests.
Oh, protest.
Stop.
Definitely. Good. Keep the protests all day long.
Kev?
Keep them going.
Who scores more goals this season, Saka or ESR?
Saka.
Kev?
Saka.
Kenny? Who would you like to see in goal on Sunday, Ramsdale or Leno? Kenny?
Ramsdale. Leno is not what we need.
Kev?
Ramsdale.
Laura, Lucy the Gooner last night told us she paid £6.20 for a vegan pie at the Emirates. Are you paying £6.20 for a vegan pie at the Emirates?
No.
Kevin? Kenny?
Yeah, if I'm hungry.
You're loaded, mate.
If I'm hungry, Kenny, if you're hungry, you pay it.
Kevin, man,
it's true.
You're the big property man in Manchester. You're an half of Manchester. Of course, you can afford that pie.
Yeah, but if I'm
$6.20
hungry,
without meat.
I won't buy it.
All right, quick predictions.
Even though you own most of Manchester.
Quick predictions for Sunday. We got 1 minute. Quick predictions for Sunday. Kev, what's the score on Sunday?
We're going to lose 2-1.
Kenny?
3-0 Man City.
Oof. We're not even going to score a goal?
No.
All right. Okay. What's cooking, people, Mr. Bungle, is that we are out. It has been an absolutely brilliant show.
Kenny,
Don't forget.
Pleasure.
Don't forget. Cheers to everyone.
See you for part 2, Ken.
Hey, when Arteta sacks, we all do it. We all do it. We all go.
We'll have to get back on.
That'll be around the north after the North London derby. Then
it's what's
it
to
should
come
be a bit
then,
earlier.
I
want to salvage the season. I want top 4. Can't keep him.
I don't think he's going in. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
Then Arsenal are going to be going nowhere this season if he stays.
All right. Well, look, we've got to duck out. Super Kev, 700 in live chat. You tell them what they need to do before they leave the door.
Hit that like button. We've got Super Ken, we got Sophie, and we got myself on. Listen,
Finsbury Park massive.
Finsbury Park massive. Haringey, all of the squaddies around the world. I salute you. I've got to go, so I'm going to love you and leave you. But you can check me over at Lee Judges TV, chatting with Campbell. See you in a bit. Kenny, take care, boss.
Look after yourself, mate.
Oh, see you, darling.
See you.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.